Welcome back to the Beyond Terrestrial podcast. Your home for the strange, the macabre,
Whoa. Hold on a second.
What? Mike?
What are you guys doing? What have you guys done to this show? Good Lord. Here we go.
You are listening to the Beyond Terrestrial podcast, your one-stop shop for the outstanding, the unconventional, and the downright strange. Strap in because the boys are about to take a wild ride. I'm Funk Master B, setting up that tea for the duo of Dumbfoolery. Your hosts, Dan and Lee.
Of course I believe in aliens. I mean, in an infinitely growing universe, why would we be the only living species? Bigfoot, Nessie, all that stuff, it's gotta be real. How are we to say that we're the only ones? It's just ignorant. I think aliens are not only from other planets, but they're time travelers.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Season 3 of the Beyond Terrestrial podcast. I am one half of your hosting duo, Mr. Dan Martson, and I am in the Haunted Barn Studios. Lee and I have joined up in the Bell Witch's backyard. High five. There you go. And we are recording live together. We are planning out an amazing Season 3 for y'all. Lee, we have a very special guest today.
Guys, have you ever met your ex-girlfriend at the supermarket and had an awkward conversation with them? Like, hey, what are you doing now? What's going on? Everybody, I'd like to welcome back my friend, my colleague, and former co-host of the Beyond Terrestrial podcast, now part-time co-host, maybe? Something? Ish. Mr. Mike Rupe.
Hello.
Mike.
How's it going?
Very good to see you, my friend.
You as well. How's it going?
And I am very, very impressed with your attire today, sir.
Oh, thank you. What?
Oh, yeah. Is that a Ric Flair cape you've got on?
You could say that.
Styling and profiling.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
You know, I got to switch it
Really-
up every now and again.
Really representing the nature boy.
Yeah, man. He's like my spirit animal, you could say. So.
All class.
Yeah,
All
man.
class.
Absolutely. Might run around naked here in a little while just because I feel like it.
But you gotta do the steps that he does.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh god, I love Ric Flair.
Yeah.
Oh, that 16-time world champion. You can't beat it. Well, Mike, what the hell have you been up to in the times since you and Lee kicked off this old podcast?
Yeah, so, well, biggest thing, I guess I've relocated to the other side of the country, kind of here. I'm here in Vegas now, Las Vegas, Nevada. Yeah, things kind of went crazy in Tennessee, hence me kind of stepping away from the show and everything. So it was time to start anew and, get going again. So here we are, Everything's going good so far,
So you moved out to Nevada to Case Area 51.
Yes, that's exactly what I moved out here for.
Knew it.
I wasn't going to tell
feds-
anybody, but, since
The
you brought it
feds
up.
were hot on Mike's tail. He had
Yeah.
said too much. He had learned too much. So he went and hid right there next to the place he thought no one would look. Area 51.
Exactly.
Smart.
Yeah, well,
Exactly. If the place doesn't exist, they can't get you there. Like,
come to find out it really does.
oh, shit.
Yeah, they found me there too. So basically, I'm on the run. I'm sleeping in cars. I'm here. I'm there. I'm everywhere. But yeah. So I never did go to the Storm Area 51. I kind of steered clear of that whole thing, though I could have. Yeah, it was looking a little shady, so I didn't go.
Yeah.
I felt like there was a good chance of getting shot at the Storm Area 51.
Yeah.
Some people were taking that way over the top, but I mean, if you've got that Naruto run down, you might have been able to make it in.
Exactly. Well, I mean, that's exactly. That was the whole philosophy, and I sure hope somebody tried it. I really do. It was just somebody would have just had like some news footage of some guy just doing some Naruto running.
I thought there was.
Was there? I don't think I ever saw that.
Guy, like,
yeah, like someone in the background of that news shot just did the Naruto run behind.
Oh, that is awesome.
One of the news anchors out there.
Yeah.
What I want to see is like getting hit, like doing the Naruto run, like towards a guard and just getting hit in the face with a buttstock. Just flattened, right?
Yeah.
Just leading with your head, boom, right in the face.
I know, because I know it all started out as a joke, and I think it was pretty obvious because that was in the actual,
Joke
description of the entire thing was like, if we Naruto run, they won't be able to. I don't remember exactly. It was something along those lines, but
right.
It was clearly a joke, and then all of a sudden, everybody's taking this seriously, like. What are you guys doing? This is a top secret military base. Like, you're going to die. Like,
right. Yes.
But
they can't kill us all. Hey, did you know that an AR-15 can fire at like 3 rounds a second?
Yeah. Maybe just bring a helicopter in and just it's
Not
to mention miniguns at 5,000 rounds a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not getting in there.
You're not. Yeah. But I think they want to turn it into something cool. I think they want to redo it. It's like a music festival type of thing or something from year to year. Probably not this year, but I know that in downtown Vegas, around Fremont, I think it was, they did a big thing down there, like the day before, like it was that weekend. They did like a massive Area 51 themed party type of deal.
Yeah, see, now that would be cool. Now that I can sign up for. I'm all for that.
For sure.
That definitely would be.
Yeah, I was working, so I wasn't able to go, but I had a coworker that went, and he said it was really cool. So,
dude, especially in Vegas, you can just drink a beer on the street, listen to music.
Yeah.
Good times, man. Good times.
Definitely.
Exactly.
Well,
so Mike, I hear you are up to a new business venture, at least to a small extent, and that business venture has, in one way or another, benefited our podcast and kind of brought you back into our fold, if you will.
Yeah. So I've kind of joined forces, I guess, with Simple Equations Media here in Vegas. It's a video production company, and I'm doing basically audio for them. So mainly post-production audio for film and TV, but I also do music and all that. But yeah, it's owned and operated by Jay Wasley. He's one of the hosts of Ghost Adventures on Travel Channel. Really, really good dude, and kind of agreed to kind of sponsor the show and everything. So it's a fun time.
Dude, that's awesome. We appreciate it. It's sweet.
Yeah.
But also, it's cool that you were able to keep it in kind of a strange wheelhouse with the Ghost Adventures connection. I love it.
Yeah. It was really, really strange. I mean, I just randomly started chatting with him on like one of the Facebook film groups in town, and just set up a meeting, and the rest is history. So
nice, dude.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, so
awesome.
Yes, we built out a studio there, which I haven't shown you guys the final photos or anything of that, which I'll have to do soon. But yeah, built out a studio and an ISO booth as well, and we just decided we're expanding. Well, Jay signed a contract or whatever for the next suite over, so we're actually expanding to a second suite and everything in the business complex. So cool. It's good times. It's going really, really well. Hopefully I can talk him into coming on here. I think he'd definitely be into it. And he's actually the voice on the call-in portion of the intro music.
That's it. Mike,
Yeah.
you redid our intro music.
Yeah.
So that beautiful music that you're hearing on our intro is once again created by Mr. Mike Rupe.
Yeah, it was
Very
fun.
cool.
It was a fun one.
That's a great story, Mike. I love how like the internet brought you to this job. Like, this is the beauty of the internet, the way it can connect people.
Yeah.
Like it's great for you. You got this sweet new gig. We're working together again. It's really cool.
Yeah.
But also the flip side of that is people latch on to weird shit and decide to storm Area 51,
Yeah.
or they get into some like QAnon conspiracy. All of a sudden they think everyone in the world is a pedophile, you know, or you know, the reptilian overlords. This used to be all tabloid magazine stuff. Now
Well, they're kind of the
people are
same
like,
thing, right? I mean, the
Yeah.
reptilians and the pedophiles are kind of the
Right.
same thing.
Yeah, it's that's the thing
Cannibals.
is all the conspiracies blend together now, or they're like, well, I think the Earth's flat because I saw a pretty convincing YouTube video about it.
Yeah, that one's a hard one. I love a good conspiracy, believe me. I am but I don't live by them. You know, I'll entertain almost everyone, and I've done like, you know, some research of my own into the flat Earth thing, and talked to you know, read up and researched on like the leaders of the flat Earth, you know, community and everything. And I mean, there's quite a bit of science that actually shows that, I don't think that the world is flat, but maybe that it's a little bit different, and that maybe the dimensions are a little bit different than what we think it is. You know, I don't think it's flat. We're not living on a saucer or anything like that. But I think it's possible that maybe our calculations are a little off. And that's all I can say about that.
That's the beauty of science is our best thinking is always having to be refined as new technologies come along.
Right.
New discoveries. I mean, people like in Columbus's time, people thought it was like pear-shaped or way smaller than what it actually is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so because he thought he was just going to sail across the ocean to India. Like
Yeah.
there was nothing in between.
Yeah.
So yeah, wrong. But yeah. Anyways, we've got some subjects that we'd like to cover, Mike. Some
Cool.
very newsworthy subjects lately.
Cool.
Newsworthy.
Lee, tell us about the Tic-Tac videos.
Guys, did you know that there are videos of Tic-Tacs?
Like the little guys?
the commercial.
I'm sure there are videos of Tic-Tacs like that.
Oh.
No. I mean, so they refer to them as Tic-Tacs, but they're really unidentified flying phenomena. These UFPs are actually videotaped and recorded by military personnel in aircraft or on the decks of ships. See, there's 3 separate ones that the government has actually admitted are real, meaning that the government doesn't know what these 3 things that resemble Tic-Tacs, hence the name, are. They feel and also admit that they are outside of our current technological capabilities.
Well, Mike, you've done a little bit of reading up on this. I mean, this story has been on CNN. This has been in the New York Times, has been one of the major publications talking about this. What have you been looking at? You are known for delving into some of the deeper corners of the internet, sir. What have you seen on this subject?
Well, I mean, to start out, it's not like, you know, anybody who's into, I don't know why we're calling them UAPs. I mean, isn't that just something Hillary Clinton said one day? You know?
Yeah, well, that's like the new military designation is UAP.
Yeah, I just want to call them UFOs.
Yeah, I mean, they're the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they're just trying to distance themselves from like
stigma.
the old 50s flying saucer sort of idea.
Yeah. But yeah, for sure. But I mean, anybody who's ever really followed UAPs or UFOs in any way have probably come across these Tic-Tac videos. Like, they've been out for quite some time. Mm-hmm. You know, like the first one was like 2004 or something like that. And then
I think they all got leaked in like 13.
I believe it was 2017. Oh, I want to say 2017. And then
I think you're right, actually, Dan, because it
wasn't until this year they were admitted. Like, the videos were already out, so the Pentagon just re-released them this year, so it made news again.
Okay. Yeah, I think there's, let's see, I know there's like the two main ones, but there's like 3 videos of these things.
Yeah,
and,
there's 3. The first one is called Flair. That one was taken in 2004.
Yeah.
By the Nimitz Carrier Strike Group off the coast of California. I believe the other 2 were like 2014, 2015.
Yeah.
They were taken by pilots during an encounter with the like USS Teddy Roosevelt Carrier Strike Group.
Yeah, it was like I remember it was like an East Coast thing. If I don't know if you guys had watched the Commander Fravor podcast on Joe Rogan's podcast, but he was one of the guys that essentially attempted to chase down one of these things back in like 2004.
Yeah, I've seen some of his statements on the subject, and he's also, I believe, prominently featured in that Unidentified show on the History Channel.
Yeah, I haven't watched that. I haven't watched it yet. But
these To the Stars Academy folks really love these stories, so they are all over the History Channel now too.
Yeah, isn't it kind of weird though? I mean, like, something about this is really weird to me, and this is kind of where my conspiracy hat comes on a little bit. But like, why? Is it just that they couldn't control it? Is it the fact that they couldn't control these videos, that they got too big, that now they're kind of forced, their hand is kind of forced to acknowledge them in some sort of way? Because, I mean, this is not something that, we're used to the government just disclosing to us. This is so groundbreaking, and this is so huge for anybody who believes in aliens or UFOs or just anything not from this earth. This is huge, and it's been on CNN, it's been on all the major news outlets and everything, and so. The major thing that everybody heard is like, oh, the Pentagon is going to disclose that they have off-world aircraft or whatever. And then I just kind of saw it go away after that. Like, I don't know, maybe I just, didn't, follow up on it enough. But, like, that was huge. It was everywhere for about a week. And then it was just kind of gone. Like, we're just not going to talk about this anymore. This is huge. Like,
I think in this latest round of news, the Pentagon said they were going to create a UAP task force that was supposed. It's kind of like the new Project Blue Book. Shout out to your guys' Blue Book episode, which is fantastic.
That was a fun one.
Mike, this Blue Book is still our most listened to show.
Really? That was a fun one, man. Like, it was a really, really fun one.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys.
A Very Brady podcast. Join host Tack Van Sickle and his guest each week as they hilariously dissect the iconic TV show The Brady Bunch, one episode at a time.
He was so creepy, though. That guy was like, he's like, I guarantee you, if they could have really done the show the way they want to do it, like, he was going to have a cup to the door listening in that night. In their room.
A look back at a simpler time where everything was groovy.
So her kids almost wrecked their marriage. Her employee shames her, and she thanks both of them. It's awesome.
So grab your potato sack and head out to the backyard for some fun.
She's in her own room.
What did we tell her about sleeping?
Like, they went and got the entire family for Dad to pick her up and put her in her bed 2 feet away from the desk.
And obviously before they did that, they also said, family, go get your bathrobes. Everyone needs to be in a bathrobe.
A Very Brady podcast is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and anywhere podcasts are available.
They have some compromising pictures of Alice that they could have used to blackmail her and keep her there. I've seen those pictures, and Alice is hotter than you think. I'm going to just put that out there and just say it.
That blue dress doesn't do justice?
No, it does. For me, that blue dress does everything.
Far out.
You're a bad man, Tack. You're a bad human. There's a lot of weird in this show.
So now we live in a time where the government has like appeased people with the promise of a new blue book that is going to release some of its findings to the public. They say, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, probably not.
Right. Right.
So, Lee, what do you think about the government like coming out with this stuff? Did they just do it just because the videos were already out and everyone had already seen it?
I'm not 100% convinced. Now, while I'm 100% behind the fact that, yeah, they released the videos and those are likely truth, but I don't think they're the pinnacle of the evidence that they've got, right?
No, probably not. Yeah, you're probably absolutely right there.
I think that they are, if anything, the worst evidence that they have, or maybe middle of the road. And when they first released it, they wanted to release something, or they wanted to keep dangling somebody on a line, somebody that may be influential with younger people, that happens to have like a huge interest in UFOs, and had recently started a company that was supposedly hobnobbing with the government to get information about UFOs. And then all of a sudden this piece of information comes out and gets leaked, and actually gets leaked through TTSA. Am I correct?
I think the guys over at the Black Vault were responsible for the leak, but TTSA has really been like pivotal in spreading it around.
I personally, I'm beginning to become of the mindset that our poor, misled maybe not be the correct. I'm beginning to think that Mr. Tom DeLonge is an unfortunate disinformation agent.
Yeah, I'd have to agree there. Like, I was so excited when I first heard that he was like essentially starting to devote his life to, ET research or whatever. And I was like, wow, that's really awesome. I remember talking about it with a coworker one day, and she's just like, can you believe this? I'm like, this is incredible. Like, what are you talking about? Like, that's the coolest thing ever. And then yeah, he just kind of seems like a flake with it. And I think, there's definitely an entire disinformation movement, that is a plague on the conspiracy world,
for sure.
And yeah, I think you're right, Lee. I think he might just be some sort of disinformation agent of some kind.
But here's my thing. I don't think he does it intentionally. I think that he's just fed
MK Ultra.
Yeah, I think that they feed him enough information that he is, excited to tell people about, but ultimately the information that he does get and the way he tells it just make him sound a little bit more crazy than serious. Yeah. Like, I feel like Dan Aykroyd would have been a much better person to start a company.
Oh, dude, I love Dan Aykroyd's UFO stories.
Me too. Like, that guy's awesome.
Dan Aykroyd, like, I hate to say it, knows his shit. Mm-hmm. Have you heard the interview with Tom DeLonge and Joe Rogan?
Oh yeah,
like, it is.
Yeah, well, this is why Tom DeLonge has kind of taken a back seat at TTSA, and that's why you have guys like Lou Elizondo up front on the History Channel, because he's just a better spokesperson for the subject. I mean, Tom just doesn't have a lot of credibility with some of his ravings and rock star persona. It just doesn't go over well with everybody. So it's got to play good to middle America to get people to watch it on the History Channel,
Yeah.
But isn't Lou Elizondo literally been proven to have falsified information in the past?
Well, he was like supposedly the director of ATIP for like the Defense Intelligence Agency. He's got legitimate like counterintelligence credentials as a former spy. So like he was a true blue government employee. Is he a true believer? Is he into all the? I don't know. Anything that's on the History Channel automatically gets me perked up. I'm like, I don't know about that. You know?
Yeah, it's you have to kind of question anything that is. It's so strange because, like, you know, all we look for is like that official statement, that official record. But as soon as something seems to be official with the government or anything like that, you kind of like got to question it as like, why are they doing this? Like, why are they telling us this stuff? Like, it's too good. It's like almost too good to be true.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, let me perk up your conspiracy hats a little bit more here with a story I found. This was on The Drive. They've covered these encounters with the Nimitz and the Teddy Roosevelt really well, and they found a strange connection between the two sightings. Both of these carrier strike groups had just been refitted with the Navy's new cooperative engagement capability, which is a fancy way of saying they integrated these radar systems from like the Hawkeye aircraft, the radar aircraft, from their cruisers and the F-18 Hornets and the carrier itself to all work together.
So all of those systems work together, give each individual person a more complete view of the battlefield.
Yeah, no, that is exactly the idea. The idea is that the Hawkeye radar, which is on a plane, could see something that's over the horizon that a ship could not, and a ship would still be able to fire a missile on that target.
Gotcha.
Similarly, a Hornet could see something that a boat could not. Maybe one of the ships could relay information to an aircraft. All part of their anti-air, real fancy, and this is a technology that could be like vital in any, nation to nation naval conflict in the future.
Yeah, that sounds pretty amazing for sure.
Yeah, but these two boats were out on training cruises. What if maybe they decided to test the limits of these new capabilities with some advanced aircraft of our own that we don't know about yet?
Right, and I'm glad you said that because I mean that's kind of like something that I've thought about is possible with this, is that literally just like many UFO sightings that we've seen and heard of are probably just military test flights, and I think it's really possible that if the whole story with Bob Lazar and everything is true, and he was legitimate about the propulsion systems that he was working on at S4, then that would explain how these Tic-Tac crafts were able to do like the crazy maneuvers that they were doing. Like, there's no propulsion system that we can think of that we know of that can make an aircraft do something like that, especially when you watch the videos and it's a lot of like it's an infrared mode and there's no heat signatures coming out from the back of the plane or the back of the craft of any kind that's showing some propulsion forward via exhaust out the back, or anything like that. It's literally just moving, and I'm sure you guys kind of know about the propulsion system that Bob Lazar said he was working on and kind of how that works.
No, tell us about it.
Okay, so basically, the craft that he says he was reverse engineering back in the late 80s at Area 51, it was technically Area S4, I think is what it was. S4 is what it was called. Is basically, it's, I'm trying to remember the details of it, but essentially what it does is it bends space in front of the craft. So he kind of likened it to if you have a bowling ball on your mattress on your bed and you push down in front of the bowling ball will move forward, and that's essentially what it's doing. Is it's creating like a magnetic field, I guess, and essentially
or like a gravity well. That would
yeah,
what that
exactly.
sounds like. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. and that's how he says these aircrafts are able to do such insane maneuvers is by using, that type of technology. Now, I butchered that for sure, but you get the point, of kind of how it works. And it's like Commander Fravor, he was talking about how it was just, when he was, pursuing one of these things, one of these Tic-Tac crafts, how it was literally just north, south, east, west, blah, 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 just like going crazy. As he kind of put it, like a ping pong ball in a glass, that would be the only way that seems possible. And that's, another kind of thing that Bob Lazar had talked about is that basically this saucer would go belly up, and that the system or whatever essentially would like radiate out of the bottom of it or work out the bottom of it, so it would go belly up, bend space in front of it, or create this gravity hole or whatever it's happening, and it would push itself forward that way. And so I think some of the guys on the East Coast, like the 2014, 2015 videos, were saying that it was doing something like that, or they had witnessed one that had kind of been going forward in a non-aerodynamic way. And that would explain how it was able to do that and move so quickly when it's not aerodynamic. It's because it's traveling in a void essentially.
Yeah. So Lee, what do you think about like the government like tricking our own pilots?
What, you want to tell me that it's not like that? It be. What do you want me? Of course, they probably did that. Like, it's not a question of whether or not they would not only test our pilots' ability to adapt to a uncomfortable situation, test new technology, test that technology that is advanced and give that technology some sort of a challenge, or see if it can even be challenged by the most advanced aircraft that humans or that the average human is aware of, right? Something like an F-22 or something like that, right? I can see that absolutely. But the propulsion thing, I have a competing theory.
Shoot.
Ghost in the blood. Ghost in the blood, and they need to do cocaine for it.
Okay.
The guys were just totally off.
I see.
Yeah.
See, now that makes sense.
Lots of wild explanations. And that's actually the hardest part to explain is like what the pilots saw themselves. Because there's actually a lot of debunking out there when it comes to the videos that were taken. There's 3 videos. They're Flair, which was taken in 2004 by the Nimitz. And then Go Fast and Gimbal are the names of the other 2 videos. Flair, according to, like, Mick West is the big guy out there on YouTube debunking these things. And lately, him and Jeremy Corbell have been in a bit of a Twitter feud, YouTube back and forth, which I think is fascinating. I love it. Jeremy is so on one side, and Mick has said, like, okay, if you just look at the videos, this is a possible explanation. You can't explain what the pilots saw. That's, not doable. So who knows what it was. Yeah. But the Flair video is the earlier one, and it is very blurry. It's just like a little, kind of like a Tic-Tac, little pill-looking kind of thing that, kind of just moves off screen. Not a whole lot to that video. Right. And when you watch it, actually, you can see the zoom is changing, and it's losing radar lock. And when the thing goes off screen, the camera just doesn't lock back on and follow it. So, and it zooms in right then, so it looks like it jumps, but that was the zoom.
Apparently, Commander Fravor had said, had kind of done like a walkthrough in the video, but essentially like it was jamming their radar, is what he says.
Right, yes. And I believe that is distinctly possible, especially, again, if it was our own military trying to test maybe some electronic warfare capabilities against a new radar system, or if it was a hostile craft. There's a lot of people on the UFO Twitterverse who are saying this could be like drones from other countries, and that would explain part of the motion too. A unmanned craft can move in ways that a manned craft could not. It could pull G-forces that would make a pilot pass out.
Right.
So
it makes you wonder why there isn't any heat signatures from them, though. I guess that's one of the big things for me, is that there's no like heat signatures showing
I actually have a theory about that. There would be at least some sort of a heat signature, but it would be greatly reduced if it was like a rotary style helicopter style drone. If it had hidden rotors on the inside, like some of those little toy drones have, where they're like the rotors are hidden inside of an outside plastic shell, it's possible that you wouldn't see like a blast exhaust from like an engine like that. That being said, to get something to go that fast with like propellers seems a little crazy.
Yeah, well, and one of the explanations for the speed, like in the Go Fast video, which is another one, is actually a parallax view. So the object that they're seeing is in the middle, and the plane is moving very quickly. So it appears like the background is moving. You get what I mean? So that's why it looks like this object is moving very quickly across the water. That's actually the plane moving very quickly. Go Fast. In that video, it doesn't really. That object doesn't seem to move like side to side very much. It looks like it's going pretty much straight. It does appear to be moving very fast in the video, but if you explain it with the parallax view, that is a distinct possibility. Now, Mick says that might be a balloon. Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
It's a pretty fast balloon.
That's a pretty fast balloon.
Right. Well, but you can do this yourself if you take like just like a stationary object and you focus on it as you walk with your camera. It'll look like the background is moving at the speed you're walking. So it gives the appearance that the stationary object is moving.
Yeah.
Another thing to keep in mind on that as well, in my thought process, is the same thing with flying rods. How it's bugs, or most flying rods are bugs close to the video screen out of focus.
Yeah, for
now,
sure.
A big part of why they look so fast is the distance from the video, right? They look like they're moving fast because they're actually only moving a couple inches, but
it's the entire lens.
But it's the entire lens.
Yeah.
Now, if you take that into account, if it was something like a smaller drone-size craft and the pilots were misjudging the distance because of whatever reason, something in the craft is designed in a way that makes it hard to judge the distance. It's got some sort of camouflage or something. To me, it would be possible for it to appear not only to the craft itself, or to the video from the craft itself, even somebody sitting inside the craft, if it's able to keep up with the craft but not necessarily outrun it, if it's close enough and moving back and forth over the canopy, it could look like it's traveling a lot farther than it really is.
Yeah. So I guess it kind of, with all these like kind of ways to debunk it and everything, it kind of comes back to a question of like, okay, if they're not debunked, though, let's just say, if they were legitimate recordings, then it kind of goes back to the question, Dan, that you asked Lee, is why would they be tricking their own?
Yeah. Now, it makes perfect sense if it's like a hostile force, right? If it was, the Chinese or the Russians or whoever trying to watch us, of course they'd try and jam radar, even though that is considered an act of war, just so you know. I just found that out. I didn't know that. So that would make some sense. If it was our own forces, again, you see some of these like really high tech things that they're coming out with. You know, the hypersonic drone vehicles. You know, we just got the F-35 out, but that doesn't seem like a giant leap forward just looking at it. Like, what other things are these guys, you know, the Northrop Grumman guys, the Lockheed guys working on that we haven't seen?
So much. You know, it's got to be so much.
Yeah.
Like they have technology that we won't see for at least 20 years.
Right.
Well, and that's a great point there. If you look at how much has stealth technology really changed since the SR-71?
Right.
I mean, the SR-71 wasn't terribly stealthy, but the overall design of that plane, it kind of influenced the stealth bomber. It influenced...
right. It did have a slimmer radar profile, yeah.
Yes. And so look at those planes. They all look like they're from the same vein of technology.
Yeah.
So at what point do they master that technology and move on to the next?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean they had to have by now. You know, as fast as all this moves, as fast as technology moves, especially you can imagine at their rate of change for technology is probably just it's probably just amazing. I can only imagine, but yeah, I mean they've had to have made some sort of progress, and even if they're not releasing it to the public, because I mean you know that these new stealth technologies and maybe just completely shrouds or completely shrouds and jams a radar. You know, you can't necessarily use that. You can't. I don't think that's. I don't even think you're allowed to use that. Yeah. You know, and I don't know for sure, but you know, they're at least trying to discover ways to do it in the best way possible.
Yeah.
You know, and if they're not going to use it, they're going to develop the technology. And if they have to do like a legitimate test, and everything in the military is like a need to know type of thing. Everything in the government, you know, it's all a need to know basis. So if these fighter pilots don't have a need to know, then they're not going to know.
Exactly.
And the people above them are literally just testing out, doing a legitimate test of new technology. It's completely possible.
Yeah.
Are you a fan of movies?
Or comics?
Or video games?
Or just anything else nerdy?
Well, you should check out the Zing This Podcast. And that's spelled
Zeng.
This. And we have nerdy topics from comic book reviews to in-depth analysis of iconic nerdy movies, as well as video game discussions.
Mm-hmm.
Where's some of the best places to find us, Allie?
Well, Podbean, of course.
You can also find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play.
Anywhere else you listen to your podcast. Yeah.
So check us out. Once again, that is
Zing This.
Now, the last video that we haven't talked about yet is Gimbal, and that one actually is probably the closest to Mike's, Bob Lazar propulsion. That's the one that rotates.
Yeah.
Strangely.
Yeah.
That one does look weird. Like, that one, I think, is the hardest one to debunk. And in the debunk, he explains this FLIR camera is set up to rotate, and it has a derotation mechanism in it. Mick West thinks there is a glare that is like on the front of the camera or something like that. So when it rotates and the derotation mechanism works, the glare is actually what's rotating in front of the camera on the lens or on the screen protecting it. There is like a bit of an aura that looks like it's coming out of this craft, right? But that is like a resolution, like a sharpening feature. Like it's a digital thing, I guess.
I feel like I have to announce to the listeners Dan's little hand movements. He did like karate chops when he said sharpening feature.
Sharpening.
Oh yeah, they were good though. I will say that they were nice hand movements.
Thank you. Yeah, it really helped drive the point home. Thank you.
Yeah, it's solidified the whole
To
thing.
us that could see you.
Right. So yeah, it's a weird explanation. I think that one's the toughest one to debunk. The shape of that thing is weird. I don't know. There's something weird going on with that one. And it seems to me that video is the most likely one to be something that is like real and moving in a way that is difficult to explain.
Mm-hmm. Now, is that the one where the guys who took the video were saying that there was like a fleet of them around, but they weren't able to see them?
Yeah, I think he said they were getting a lot of radar contacts in that one.
Yeah. So, I mean, they're seeing a lot of these things, which is kind of weird, too, because I don't think they're going to lie about it. I mean, these guys are, very legitimate sources of information. And these guys are not going to lie about stuff like this unless they're, their own disinformation agent, which is totally possible. These people could be complete disinformation agents, just because they're in the military doesn't mean that they, don't have a little side deal with the CIA going on or something like that. It's completely possible. It's happened before. But I don't imagine them just making up a lie that they see these things all the time or they're seeing multiples of them at one time or anything like that. So, I mean, if we think it's just, military, new military technology, why is there like 6 or 7 of them flying around at once? Or how many are they making? Like how much black budget money is there out there? A lot of it, I think. But,
and that's one of my ideas is that this is part of the military industrial complex's work to keep getting that sweet funding.
Yeah, for sure.
They love that money. But Lee,
they have to justify their work.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like this guy was telling me he used to be in the Marines. That he in the Marines, it's like they used to buy a bunch of stuff because it essentially kind of justified what they were doing. And it's just they had to show that that they're doing something, so they buy a helicopter.
Right. And the thing is that they give you the money. If you don't spend the money, they assume you don't need it, and so you don't get as much money the next year.
Right. It's just justifying it. It's the same thing that a corporate boss does. He justifies all these stupid things that the people below him have to do to justify his own position and his own pay. So it's the same type of principle.
Yeah. So Lee, military pilots citing unidentifiable craft is not new. Not at all. This goes back to the 50s. How
This goes back to the 40s, Dan. Foo Fighters.
Oh yeah, that's right. So like, how do we tie in? Like, I don't know. Our current military industrial complex just taking advantage of a narrative that exists? Has this been going on for who knows how long? Are people just like, we're monkeys. We descended from, creatures that lived in trees and learned how to eat plants and escape predators.
I don't think that was in the Bible, Dan.
Yeah, right. Are our brains just not set up right to identify what's going on? I have no clue.
Wow, Dan, that's a
big question. That's a big
question for me. So
solve,
there's a lot of questions in there.
The UFO problem.
There's actually a lot of
on this
questions in there,
podcast.
like where we descended from monkeys. I believe that we were descended from ape-like creatures that were actually ours and monkeys' predecessors. So.
Oh, okay. You know what I mean, Lee.
No, I'm not.
Don't get smart with me. I was on Jeopardy. Motherfucker.
There's our one curse word.
All right.
So, I think that there is a certain amount of disclosure that the government may be trying to give us, or certain aspects of the government. But I challenge the disclosure they're trying to give us.
They want to do disclosure their way.
They want to do it their way.
Uh-huh.
And their way is as limited and controlled as they can do it, as well as allowing themselves to appear in control as much as possible.
Right. You remember that South Park episode where it turned out like 9/11 inside job conspiracies were all from the government because they wanted people to think the government had that kind of power?
So and that's a part of it. Like I think that the government wants to appear in control. Like so many aspects want to appear like they're in control, which they aren't always in control. And I also wonder if it's multiple branches not discussing what they're doing with each other. So you've got the Air Force testing a new drone, and the Navy's out testing their new
radar system.
Yeah. And all of a sudden they end up in a mini dogfight. Are they going to discuss that with each other? Probably not.
I would hope so.
There's someone pulling the strings above all of them. Is the thing. This is part of some kind of advanced DARPA thing. If it is,
there's somebody pulling the strings above all of them, but there's not somebody necessarily pulling the same strings at the same time in the same location. So what I mean is there is only so much of the world. Is it possible that these are accidental overlaps of stuff like that?
Yeah. I just hope the person who is pulling the strings also is chain smoking cigarettes.
Of course.
Oh, they have to, and you never see his full face.
Yes. Like that. Please make that real world.
Wearing a trench coat, and all of his meetings occur in a garage,
parking garage. Classic. Now, Mike, there are some like hippy dippy theories about disclosure, like once we find out the aliens are real and their technology is amazing, people are going to sing Kumbaya and join hands, and we're going to rise to some heightened level of consciousness or some bullshit like that.
Yeah.
Damn, Dan, tell us how you feel about that.
Yeah, how does that?
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, what would you think disclosure would look like?
Oh man, that's pretty terrifying, to be honest, because that means everything that we've thought of as far as the universe around us is not that it's changed, but it's just people are going to be a lot different. And, knowing for sure that we are not the only thing in the universe is probably going to absolutely terrify some people and probably kind of enlighten a lot of other people. And so I think there's going to be, certainly a group of people that can say, finally, we can come together as humans. Like we're human beings. There's something non-human being out there. We need to come together. But other people are just, it's not, if we know anything about humans, is they're absolutely retarded, and they just still are going to find a way to argue and hate each other. And so there's going to be like, oh, well, we need to deal with the aliens this way. And other people are like, no, we need to deal with the aliens that way. No, we don't know if they're dangerous. Be like, no, they're not dangerous. They would have killed us already. Whatever, And so no, it's not going to be some like kumbaya moment. I hope that some good would come of it. I don't know for sure. I would think it would be like a relief, like a finally for myself, if it was like completely official, like they came down and it wasn't Project Bluebeam and it wasn't a hologram and it was an actual thing. Blue Beam, different from Blue Book. Project Blue Beam is the fake alien invasion. Look that one up because that one's a fun one.
Ooh, I like that.
Nice.
But essentially that's what a lot of people are saying this is all leading to is Project Blue Beam, which is It's basically like fake alien contact in order to kind of usher in, hoping people bank on this whole like we all come together as one thing to kind of usher in essentially the one world order.
Right. It's Ozymandias's plan from Watchmen.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's a thought too, man. Like that really scares me because, I think there are certainly forces out there that are very powerful that would like to see the world that way, and whatever that is, you can call that the Illuminati or whatever you want. But, there are, I believe, forces out there that want that to happen for control purposes. If we know anything about power structures, is they want more power, and so there's that whole aspect of it too. So I don't know what to believe. Like, even if it happens, it's like, I don't know if I can believe it or not.
Yeah, I really think there's two options, right? One is sort of like you're saying, Mike, disclosure isn't happening right now because of the toxic environment that we live in. People could not deal with that. I mean, people can't agree on some of the simplest things on Facebook anymore. It's infecting normal life. Like, it's harder to talk to people about things like face to face now because of stuff people put up on the internet. It sucks. And the political divisions and just crap that we see, the lack of truth, like objective truth in any reporting anymore. Like you could say, hey, there's that pond and it's this big, and people will be like, no. Right. There's not that much water in that pond. There's not that many fish in that pond.
Like, of course you'd want us to think that pond was that size, because why wouldn't you?
Right. I mean, it's this. So disclosure, maybe if there is some secret that the government's holding on to, they're not going to put it out right now. And it sucks, but it makes sense why they're holding on to it.
Yeah.
Or there is no secret. I mean, that's the only other option. And people will be like, oh, they'll say there is no secret. Like, we've been testing these things. That's our stuff, and you don't need to know. Like, there are no aliens. This is just us humans doing their thing, and people will not believe it. If the disclosure is there are no aliens and we're just doing these advanced tests, then no one's going to believe that.
Right. Because then you have all the people who claim to have, like, been abducted, for example, like people who have seen them with their own eyes, they say. Not even just UFOs, but actual aliens themselves being taken on board and whatever. So, them saying, oh, this is us. This has been us the entire time. Like, sorry, we freaked you guys out, but it was us the whole time. I'd be like, well, they took me on board and they shoved things in my butt, and so
butt stuff.
No, so
creeps in all
there
the time.
is certain that thought process is great, but they could have been doing like illegal human testing too. So
absolutely, yeah.
Oh yeah.
And you get effed up on the right amount of drugs, you might think that you're seeing something really weird when it's really not all that crazy.
Well, yeah, and I mean, it's not that hard to kind of the human mind is really fragile, actually. It's like, you can essentially make somebody remember something in a certain way by a few, they've been working on, mind control for a long time and brainwashing techniques. It's not like this is anything brand new. It's possible to make somebody believe something slightly different than what they actually experienced.
Yeah. So there it is, guys. I mean, who knows what's going on? Truth has gone out the window anymore. But what we do know is there's some videos out there. There's some news. There's some eyewitness reports. It's getting strange. We got our main man Mike back with us.
Hey,
Mike. Before we let you go, you got to plug Simple Equations. How can people find that online?
Yeah, so best way to reach out is probably Facebook, Instagram, that type of thing. It's Simple Equations on Facebook, Simple Equations Media on Instagram. You just go to the website, simpleequationsmedia.com. There's a Twitter there as well. I think it's Simple Equation _, I think. And yeah, all the normal ways. Just Google it, man. Or just come to Vegas. And if you're already here, just give us a shout first, because we're kind of appointment only with the whole COVID thing. But come down and say hello and just reach out. It's a full video and audio production company. So literally anything from music videos to feature films to, music recording, original scores, everything. Even help you write a script. So, it's 100% top to bottom, pre-production through post-production. So, yeah.
Awesome deal.
I want to say it, Dan. I'm going to say it. Hey, Mike, I have a script that I need help refining. The initial meeting is woman answers the door in a negligee, and she is there's a plumber, and the plumber is here to lay some pipe.
Okay.
But I'm not sure where to go from there. So.
Well. If he's got a pipe to pull out, then maybe he should, do that.
Right. I mean, she doesn't know what he's talking about. Yeah, this is a visual medium. We really got to...
She will.
Yeah.
Okay.
Show me to your sink.
Perfect. Well, guys, yeah, check out Simple Equations Media. Go to their website. Please don't just drop in because it's the coronavirus times. Let them know you're going to come by. And you can find us on Facebook. You can go to our very special Beyonders fan group on there. Please join up. You can suggest topics for more future shows. It'll be really cool. We're on Twitter at BeyondTPod. And we've got a website, Lee.
Oh, yeah. It's beyondterrestrial.com. At beyondterrestrial.com, you can find links to our Facebook, our Twitter, our friends at the Fourth Hand Pod Network Collective.
That's FORTH, Fourth Hand. And yeah, we got a lot of cool stuff. Episodes, Patreon exclusives. Get it.
Stickers.
Do it. Oh, stickers. Yeah. All right, guys, that's it for Beyond Terrestrial. Keep your eyes out there for more stories.
From Beyond Terrestrial.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for listening to Beyond Terrestrial, all three of y'all. If you're still a fan of this show, follow Beyond Terrestrial on social media and join the Beyonders Facebook group for even more strangeness. Links to everything, including previous episodes, are available at beyondterrestrial.com. That's the place to go for stickers, merch, show swag, and our Patreon. Patrons get exclusive access to ad-free shows, giveaways, and the unedited after-show show. Anything you give to the show goes straight to Funk Master B's bachelor pad, which for now is also where these jive turkeys record this show. This show was edited by Simple Equations Media with music by Mike Rupe. Dan and Lee will be back next Tuesday with more from Beyond Terrestrial.